Okay, so we're going to go over how to find the molecular formula from the empirical formula. So the first thing to know is the difference between the molecular and empirical formula. So a molecular formula is just the actual composition of a molecule. For example, one of the most well-known ones is glucose, which has the molecular formula C6H12O6. And then the empirical formula is the smallest whole number ratio of the atoms in the molecule. So for glucose, you'll notice that carbon has a subscript of 6, hydrogen has a subscript of 12, and oxygen has a subscript of 6. So 6, 12, and 6 are all divisible by 6. So if we divide all the subscripts by 6, we get CH2O. And so this would be our empirical formula. Now, when you're converting from an empirical formula to the molecular formula, the first thing that you want to do is figure out your molar mass of your compound, of your empirical compound. So here we're given, for the first example, we're given that our empirical formula is CH2 and our molecular mass is 140 grams per mole. So then we go to the periodic table and we figure out what the molar mass is for each atom in the compound. So carbon has a molar mass of 12 grams per mole and hydrogen has a molar mass of 1 gram per mole. So we have one molecule of carbon, so 12 grams per mole. We have two atoms of hydrogen. And so this would be 2 times 1 grams per mole. And the 12 and the 1 are pulled from the periodic table. That gives you 14 grams per mole. Now, this is just the molar mass for one of these, for a CH2. To figure out what our molecular mass is, we're going to need to figure out how many molecules of CH2 we have in our sample. So to do this, we take the total mass of the sample. So in this case, it was given to us at 140, and we divide it by the molar mass that we just found, which was 14 grams per mole. So 140 divided by 14 is 10. So we know that we have 10 kind of molecules of this CH2. So what we do is we multiply the subscripts in the empirical formula by the number we just found. So CH2 becomes C10H20. And you can revert back to that. So if we take the smallest number that 10 and 20 are both divisible by, which is 10, we would get C1H2, which is what you started with here. So that's just a good way to check that you've done your multiplication correctly.